What if distractions became completely irrelevant to your game? Elite performers don't just focus better, their brains work differently. This difference is measurable, trainable, and directly impacts score. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how champions stay locked in under pressure. I'll show you the research that explains why some golfers stay calm and consistent while others struggle, and more importantly, how you can join the elite group. In my previous video, I showed you a systematic approach to pre-shot routines. Today, we're diving into the neuroscience that explains why systematic mental training works. The core issue, scattered attention destroys golf performance before you even swing. Your brain is fighting itself during crucial shots. Cognitive motor interference sabotages execution. Most golfers unknowingly create mental chaos when they need clarity most. And lastly, here, the difference between recreational and elite performance starts in the mind. So, where does this show up? Standing over a crucial putt with racing thoughts. Can anybody identify with that? Trying to hit a shot while worrying about the water hazard. Again, where's your attention in that moment? Feeling overwhelmed by swing thoughts during pressure moments. I think we've all been there from time to time. And then letting one bad shot ruin the next three holes. This mental interference is costing you strokes and stealing the enjoyment of the game. Let's talk about the science. Wang and colleagues used advanced EEG brain monitoring to study 38 golfers, good sample size, during putting tasks comparing elite competitors to skilled amateurs. They wanted to understand what makes champions different under pressure. The primary endpoint was measuring neural interference patterns, essentially how much your brain fights itself during execution. The secondary endpoint was visuospatial attention patterns, how well golfers process visual information under pressure. What they discovered was groundbreaking. So let's talk about the findings. Elite golfers showed 34% less neural interference patterns in their brains, so that's statistically significant. They demonstrated superior visuospatial attention during performance, better filtering of irrelevant information, and more refined psychomotor control under pressure. What does this mean? Elite performers have trained their brains to stay quiet during execution. They process visual information more efficiently, and their attention systems work for them, not against them. And this creates consistency and confidence under pressure. Well, what's the trainable difference here then? These attention patterns aren't genetic, they're developed through training. Neural interference can be systematically reduced, visual attention can be refined with specific techniques, and the research proves mental training creates measurable performance improvements. This research validates what we see in elite performance across all domains. Systematic mental training creates measurable advantages. The Wang study revealed that elite golfers have trained their brains to filter irrelevant information and maintain focus under pressure. Here's how you develop that same capability. We're going to call this single point focus training. Here's what you're going to do. Go to your backyard, your patio, a park, anywhere you'd like, outside preferably. Leave your phone inside. Pick a target that's about 100 yards away. Now, while you're staring at your target, I want you to visualize hitting a shot. So you're going to think about your 100-yard club, whatever that club may be for you. Now visualize going through your entire personalized pre-shot routine. You're reading your lie, selecting your club, taking your practice swings, addressing the ball, and then ultimately you're executing the shot. If you don't have that pre-shot routine yet, take a look at my video library. I've got a video that specifically addresses that and will help you build that out. So while you're doing this, you're going to see that ball flight in your mind, the trajectory, the landing, everything from beginning to end, as if it's happening like you're watching a movie. So it's happening in real time. Initially, just do this for 1 minute. If you want to incorporate micro movements, small muscle activations that mimic your swing while you're doing that, research proves that that also helps improve effectiveness by over 30%. Your brain, in that case, recognizes those mental reps as real practice reps. So not only are you improving your focus, but you're also improving your game overall because, again, your brain neurologically recognizes physical and mental reps as identical with regards to neural pathway development. So what else can you do beyond just this visualization? Again, starting with 1 minute, building to 2. The next exercise would be called distraction filtering. You could do this while you're hitting practice balls. The idea is to create distractions intentionally around you. Tiger Woods' dad, Earl Woods, made this famous throwing tees at him while he was standing on the range and practicing. Again, helping Tiger sort of filter out the unnecessary information to improve his focus. And I think we can all agree that Tiger had focus in his heyday, if you will. Now, remember these details as well. Elite performers stay locked into the current shot. They're not worried about future outcomes. And so practice bringing your attention back to the right now. If you are distracted and you find yourself distracted, gently allow yourself to, come back into focus. The next would be make sure you have a reset protocol. If you feel that stress response, your heart is racing, tense muscles, that's your nervous system trying to protect you. It's doing its job essentially. Acknowledge it gently. Thank you for trying to keep me safe, but also remind yourself that this is just golf. You can use controlled breathing. You can use controlled breathing in that moment to execute a reset. Let's talk about on-course implementation. How do you apply this when it matters, right? So pre-shot attention anchoring will be the first topic we talk about, and that is before every shot, you're going to establish one clear focal point. Preferably, that is your target. So if it's a putt, it's a spot you're putting to. If it's a drive, perhaps it's a leaf on a tree. Not just that tree or over there. It needs to be incredibly precise. Then from there, with that, your pre-shot routine should be locked in, right, to that very specific small target. This exactly mimics what elite golfers do. They're going to give their full attention to that and obsess about that one specific target, which in turn clears your mind. So then what do we do between shot reset if required, right? And I say if required because it's not always going to be required. But if you have a reaction, you feel like maybe that stress response has shown up, I really recommend then moving back into what we call in our BRAVR mental fortress system baseline, and that starts with box breathing. So, deep breath in, hold for 4, deep let that out for 4, and then hold for 4 again, right? That box breathing really will help you get back to baseline and be present. So next is remember that especially when the stakes are high, so it's no coincidence that you see really good golfers go out and shoot a great score in a practice round, and then the first round they are 10, 15 shots off their practice round. The bigger the stage, right, the bigger the potential for our brains to sort of feel unsafe, our nervous system to kind of hijack the situation. Again, it's the same thing. You're going to acknowledge that it's normal. It's very normal in those moments to have those feelings. You might also consider interpreting that as excitement and enthusiasm. Often fear and excitement can feel the same to our body, but we can interpret them differently, um, you know, in that moment if we choose to. And so where possible and you can choose to interpret those feelings as excitement, that's also helpful. So, the last thing to consider is if you get off track in those moments, research also shows that the elite golfers will get back on track faster. They give themselves that grace that those shots are going to happen. That's okay. It's not a representation of who I am. It's not a representation of my worth. I might be frustrated right now, but I'm going to process that as quickly and efficiently as I can and get back to focusing on my next shot, back to full capacity. So let's talk about building your mental training system, though. Your systematic approach to developing these elite attention patterns. I would say start with 10, if you can build the 10 minutes of focused attention training, you're literally rewiring your brain's default patterns from scattered to focused as you're going through these exercises that we talked about earlier. So think about it like you're going into the gym and you're entering the gym with a 100-pound bench press with the goal of a 200-pound bench press. Well, that's going to take quite a bit of time and consistency to get from 100 to 200. And so maybe your mental game starting point is that, right? It's 100 pounds, if you will, of the bench press, and you want to double it. Well, it can take time. It takes persistence. It takes consistency. Give that to yourself. Start with low pressure situations like practicing on your own, playing on your own, those places where you can kind of give yourself some room to lose focus and regain focus and it be okay. Remember, you're teaching your nervous system here that golf challenges are manageable. They're not life-threatening. The other thing to close on here in this regard is you want to track your progress. Create a scoring system. Maybe it's a simple 1 to 10 scale. And after each hole you play, you rate yourself a 1 if you felt that you were on the low end of performance, and a 10 if you felt like you were on the high end of performance relative to focus. Also, think about how you can implement this into your overall mental framework. We again use BRAVR, the mental fortress, for that. And at the end of the day, if your attention is scattered, you really can't effectively get back to baseline, reset from your mistakes, right? You've got to be able to then focus so that you can enter that process, which again for us is that baseline, reset, affirm, visualize, ready. Really, at the end of the day, kind of the point of this is that elite attention control is the foundation that makes everything else possible. Here's why mastering both focus development and focus recovery matters for your scores and enjoyment of the game. When you train your attention like elite golfers, you'll experience longer periods of clear, calm thinking during rounds. No more mental chaos over crucial putts or tee shots. More importantly, when you go down that path and you're feeling pulled away from focus, you'll have a systematic way to get back, if you will, to baseline instead of losing it on hole 6 and then fighting it for the rest of the round, unable to reset and get back to baseline. You'll have reduced mental fatigue. Fighting scattered attention is exhausting. Can anybody else agree with that? I know I personally can. When you can maintain focus longer and recover faster, golf becomes less mentally draining and more enjoyable. Consistent performance. Elite golfers aren't perfect. They just recover faster. You'll have fewer blow-up holes because you can interrupt the stress cascade and get back to your process quickly. Your scores are going to improve. Better focus means fewer mental errors. Faster recovery means mistakes don't compound. I can tell you that the research proves out that this is worth at least 5 strokes around. I can tell you watching tournament golf, coaching tournament golf at the highest possible levels, the elite D1 levels, it's easily 5, if not sometimes more, that can be lost to this. Really, honestly, then the last point here is pure enjoyment. You're not battling yourself all the time, if you will, staying frustrated for multiple holes. You'll actually enjoy the game a lot more that you love. Focus becomes your ally, not your enemy. This isn't theory or positive thinking. This is proven neuroscience published in Psychology of Sport and Exercise. The Wang study gives us a roadmap for developing the same attention pattern as elite golfers, plus the systematic tools to recover when focus gets disrupted. Drawing on my experience with elite performers across military, martial arts, and golf, I've seen these principles create real transformation. The systematic approach works because it addresses both sides of the equation, building elite focus and recovering from focus loss quickly. The goal isn't just lower scores, though that's a natural result when you can maintain attention longer and reset faster. It's genuine enjoyment of the game through better mental control. When you understand your mind and trained it systematically, golf becomes the game it was meant to be. If you found this valuable, check out my other videos on mental performance and the complete BRAVR system. I'm here to help you play better golf and enjoy it more. Thanks for watching.